Welcome to the Happy Mama Village podcast with Bryann and Annie, a podcast about mamas, for mamas, and by mamas. Hi, everyone. This is the Happy Mama Village podcast, Ep06. We are your hosts, Bryann Zielinski
and Annie Henderson.
And it's great to be back here in our village where we talk about all things pertaining to happy mamas, like relationships, parenting, enjoying a bubble bath with a glass of wine, self-care, etc., etc., etc.
All right. I can't wait to talk about today's topic, but first, somebody has a birthday coming up tomorrow.
I do.
Yay!
Yay or boo. I'm not really sure if it's a yay or a boo.
It is definitely a yay. Definitely. Own it.
Yes, 43.
That's
Yay.
awesome. Yeah, you do not look or act 43, and that's what's important.
Yes, that is what is important in life.
Any fun plans or all mystery?
I'd say some of it is a mystery because other people are in charge of planning that for me. Even though I'm typically the big day, big event planner person in our family, I don't get to plan this one.
That's good.
But I'm gonna have lunch with my mom and my daughters tomorrow, and maybe go sneak in a movie during the day with my girls.
That sounds like a blast.
So that's what I have on the menu so far.
Perfect. And you can catch us up next week and tell us all about it.
I'll let you know how it went. So, Annie, now that school is out officially, do you have any plans for the summer?
Oh my goodness. I just had a nap with my daughter. It was amazing.
That's what's on the menu. That's the plan for the summer, is just napping.
No, I've been hitting hard, getting together some stuff that I can't wait to share. I'll share more about it next time, but definitely focusing on coaching and trying to help people in different ways. And I'm really excited about setting up a meetup, if everyone's familiar with meetups, meetup in my area. So I can meet some local moms and other women, and just so we can support each other.
Very cool. Very cool. Any like vacation plans?
Oh, well, we have family in St. Louis. My partner has family in Mississippi. So those are all 6 to 9 hours. So we usually do a drive. And my daughter even admitted one time that she really enjoys the drive.
Love it.
I know. I'm like, oh, great. That's perfect.
I love a good road trip. I really do.
Right? If you
I
got
think
the
it's
music,
fun.
the right people, it can be amazing. Nothing.
Yes, last summer, kind of on a whim, we didn't really have it planned out too much in advance. We drove up to South Dakota to see Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first road trip, like long road trip, that we'd taken with all 4 kids since we got married 3 years ago. And so we kind of made it dorky, kind of cheesy. If we stopped at like all the weirdo places on the way, like the largest ball of twine.
That's so cool.
The Statue of Liberty in Kansas, like instead of Stonehenge, there's a car hinge.
Yes.
Okay. So we stopped at as many of those kind of places as we could.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I'm sure someone just wrote that down.
Yes. And so here's the tip. Okay. I'm going to bring it back to what we're here for, which is good tips. We used a app called roadtrippers.com or just the Road Trippers app.
I like it.
It was awesome. So definitely look it up. It's great for road trips because it'll show you anything you want to find on the way, whether it's restaurants or hotels or quirky, cheesy things to do. Tell it where you're going, and it will make suggestions for you.
I will definitely add it to my apps.
Okay, well, that's a perfect transition right into our topic this week about self care. So, Annie, why don't you start us off with an
All
introduction?
right. So self-care is so important. Just like we always hear every time we hop on a plane, the flight attendants will tell you to put the mask on yourself first.
Yes.
Because what will happen, Brian, if we do not?
Right. Then everybody perishes,
Yes,
you know?
we all if mama dies, everyone
Everyone
dies.
dies. It's very doom and gloom. But yes, I love that though. It's like you have to take care of yourself first before you can spread the love to other people.
Right, and your family, is very in tune and aware if you start to lose your energy or start to get sick or just need a little break, they can tell. So it's not like you're doing any favors neglecting yourself.
Right. Totally.
So I think I mentioned this last time I was going to talk about it. So self-care, my partner and I took a little weekend trip to a wonderful Airbnb in, if you're from Texas, Pilot Point.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
amazing. It's our second time. We already planned our third one coming up. I believe for this month we're going to go with a group of friends. And I will say these are all kid-free trips.
Nice.
This place is also great because they will let you take your dogs, and it's out where there's lots of just fun stuff. You can relax, get out. Don't worry about laundry or work. You can go pick tulips or strawberries, whatever's in the area. It's just a nice, fun way to take care of yourself. What about you, Brian? How are you good about taking little mini trips?
I could be better at that. I'll be real honest. But it is something that I discovered about myself and in relation to my marriage. How important that alone time is. And that
Hmm.
may not be true for everyone, but I do know for me that is something I need one-on-one alone time with my husband in order
Yes.
to feel connected. And so I'm thankful that I know that about myself. And so it's important for us to fit that in. In fact, I just saw something the other day about it's called the 222 rule for relationships. And I
Tell
don't know
us
if this
about
is
it.
like a well-known thing or if it's just something this guy made up,
I have not
but
heard of it.
okay, so the 222 rule for relationships is every 2 weeks they go on a date. Every 2 months they go on a weekend trip, and every 2 years they go on a week-long trip.
That sounds glorious.
Right, right, I know, and so I know a lot of people out there are like, "Well, there's no way we don't have that much time," and I get it. I totally get that, because I find myself in that same kind of slump sometimes, that same kind of mindset.
Mhm.
But, every 2 weeks, that's not too hard to do. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And it doesn't have to be a big money spender.
It doesn't. It doesn't. For example, like, and I realized we were already kind of doing this a little bit, my husband and I. Uh, every other week, my kids stay with my parents overnight on a Wednesday night. And, you know, we don't go, like, live it up. It's not like we're going to some, like, wild, concert or something. We're not even going to any fancy restaurants usually. We are usually at home, but we get to have a quiet night where we get to really talk to each other,
You can have, like,
and
grown-up talks.
we can have a grown-up talk. And several months ago, I signed us up for something called, I'm probably gonna butcher the name, so I'm not a very good advocate probably for this, product, but I think it's called Night in Boxes,
Ooh,
and
tell us more.
so it's this company, and they mail you a little box. It's about the size of a shoebox, and it has everything you need in the box for your date. So it gives you a menu if you wanna do it. It provides you with talking points, activities, like, one time it was holiday themed, so we made an ornament together. One time it was like an '80s theme, and there was '80s trivia and, karaoke. It was super fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, so we played MASH. You remember
I
that
love
game, like, you played?
I taught
Yeah,
my
like, when
daughter, yes.
okay, so that was in the '80s themed one, so, um, it's great because then you don't have to come up with ideas, it's all built right into the box. So
Right,
it's super
you don't get stuck in the movie night routine.
exactly, exactly. So that's been a fun thing for us to do, and so every other week, basically, we get one night to just to be together.
That's
So and
nice.
that's good for me. That's restorative for me, not just in my relationship, but just for me as a person.
Yeah, yeah, and you need that. That's I feel like that's why so many relationships have that really hard empty nest syndrome, or people until their kids graduate to get divorced and they to get out of there because they focus only on the kids and they forget about their relationship completely.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's one of my self-care things that I do for self-care. What about you, Annie?
We we have a lot of little things. We the I'll share this weekend. This weekend was a free one, and actually, Sam, my partner, was out of town and visiting one of her friends, which I don't know how you feel about that, but I this is one thing I love about our relationship is we understand the importance of friendship and keeping those alive. So many times people will kind of abandon their friendships to focus on their relationship. Um,
Right.
and anyway, so she went to do that, and then we have another family that we're friends with, and they were needing some self-care time, so they asked if their kiddo could come spend the night, which in turn, we got some pizza, they went upstairs to watch a show, and then I had my own free time. So it wasn't I mean, besides food, which we would pay for anyway, there was no cost involved. We didn't go out to see a movie. I didn't have to leave or go on a trip, but I did have my alone time where, yes, I did some work, but I also, caught up on a show that only I watch. Just some weird little small things that, even though it doesn't seem big, it's not like a trip, it can do wonders.
Right. Oh, for sure. So that's that's so right in line with something I was talking to one of my clients about the other day. So I gave her some homework and it was to find joy in the midst of her life. And I call them joy grabs. So take the opportunity to grab some joy doing something you love in the during the week. So her homework was to pick 3 joy grabs. Plan it out so that you, had the opportunity to look forward to it. You had the opportunity to plan it and then enjoy it. So that was her homework. So it's very similar to what you just said. It's nothing big. It's taking a walk because you enjoy walking by the river, or it's getting your nails done because you have time to just sit and relax. It doesn't have to be anything super
Gotcha.
major.
Just being
It's
intentional.
it's just being intentional, and if you plan it ahead of time, like maybe at the beginning of the week, then the anticipation is part of the joy.
Oh,
You get to loo
yes.
you get to look forward to, on Thursday, I'm going to sit out on the porch and listen to some music. And you're gonna do that on Thursday, and then so you kinda get a little bit of joy just in the anticipation, and then when it actually happens and you're there listening to the music, you can more fully be in the moment.
I love that idea. And like you said, being intentional about planning it and putting it in your calendar, because so many times if it's not on the calendar, it's the first thing to go.
Exactly. If it's not, I tell people this all the time. If it's not in my calendar, it does not exist.
That's true.
It just doesn't. It does not exist in my world, at least.
Yes, that is so true. I know, if you are just needing a moment, in terms of maybe you're starting to lose your temper, or it's been a long weekend or a long summer for some of you parents that are have are ready for school to start back already. It might be stealing 10 minutes away in the bathroom, just going in, take your phone or some headphones with you, listen to a podcast, or create a nice bath and lock that door. Take some time for yourself.
Yes. I mean, and exactly. I mean, listen to some music, listen to, like you said, a podcast, maybe the Happy Mama Village podcast, whatever.
Yes, a book, whatever does it for you. So it can be as
Exactly.
little as 10 minutes, it could be, like Brian said, a week vacation somewhere. You just have to be consistent about it if it's the little things, making sure, you don't build up where you're about to explode if you don't have some time alone.
Yeah, and I think that's such a mom thing, and I'm sure dads, maybe they do that too, but I know for sure moms do it, is that they're
Yes,
so busy putting
they're
everybody first.
always on.
Yeah, always on. That's a great way to describe it. And so self-care really is a necessity, and it really does need to be intentional because we will throw ourselves away if we're given the opportunity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. So with this summertime, this might be a good time to practice. Have the kids go have some imagination time in their room with all those toys they have in their in their room, that they never have enough time to play with, and then you have a little time for yourself. So just kind of be intentional about planning their day. You're not their entertainment. They can
What? No.
was that one for you?
We're supposed to entertain these little monsters all the
Entertain
time.
entertain me. Yeah. Okay, I love joy grabs. I like that. That'll be more fun than planning a weekly menu.
I've trademarked it. I'm just kidding.
You
I
should.
haven't. You can use it.
All right,
Feel
anything
free to
else
steal it.
do you want to say about joy grabs or anything else that I guess you recommend to your clients?
That's usually homework that I give them at some point is to work on grabbing the joy and being intentional about it, especially people who are struggling with depression.
Mhm.
Is the joy, finding the joy is sometimes difficult, but it's good for anyone, really. And really along those same lines, like the life coaching in general is self-care.
It is, and I know sometimes there's a lot of stigma around counseling or asking for help just in general, even as even parents asking other parents for help. That can be a hard thing to do. But when it comes to getting counseling or getting coaching, um, that can be a really hard thing to commit to. But that's one thing I love. I don't know if I've shared this before, Brian, but um, I'm a counselor. I'm a school counselor. I also have an LPC, so I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I can see clients in a private practice setting. But there is a lot of stigma around that, and that's one thing I love about coaching is that it is less formal. It's more solution focused, focus on setting goals and how can we move forward. And instead of sometimes people can get caught in a cycle of talking about the past for years where they kind of just get stuck in this rut and the counselor kind of goes along for that ride as well. Coaching is definitely solution focused. Um,
Right. That's what I love about it too. Yeah, that it is solution based, that we are helping our clients set goals and get to a particular place. there is an end goal in mind
There
from the
is.
beginning.
Bryan, have you had a chance to work with anybody that has previously had counseling?
Yes, actually, yes, actually. And and this is by no means, I think therapy is great. I've done it. I recommend it. I'm by no means knocking therapy. But
But
so after a session or 2, she said our coaching sessions were hands down better than any therapy session she'd ever had. I think it was because of the actual progress, that it was action based. There was some solution, there were some tools that she was given to move her forward where she needed it.
Uh, yes, yes. I've had similar comments, and I was amazed because it's, usually the first session in a counseling session isn't that productive. There's a lot of reviewing history, talking about where things are, and um, with coaching we don't deep dive into the past, so we get right into it and we start making progress. So even though my clients for counseling did make some progress and they did enjoy it, and they stuck with me, when I've had someone that's had counseling and coaching, they have told me that, oh my gosh, this was so much more productive. And I think that speaks volumes.
Right, and I'll say I think the 2 together is awesome, but really the coaching to me, obviously, because I am a coach, I recommend I recommend that for people, especially as self-care. When you're talking about self-care especially, I think this is where coaching is so helpful.
Yeah, it is, and like we've been talking about, moms tend to put themselves on the back burner, and some of you listening might be thinking, oh, like one day or once Tommy graduates, then I'll get some coaching
Mhm.
or go get some therapy. But it does not need to be that way. They will be their best selves when you are your best self as well.
Definitely. Hey, that reminds me. What if, Annie, what if we could combine coaching and vacations?
Oh my goodness. Sign me up. Um,
Right?
yeah, oh yeah. So if you can't tell, we have started talking about a retreat, a coaching retreat where, yes, moms, you can take a break from the family. You might even want to take a close friend with you or a sister, or whoever you want with you along on this retreat where you can get coaching and relax and enjoy an amazing vacation all in one.
It's a twofer.
Two
2
for
for 1.
I've
BOGO, buy 1, get 1.
yes, I've mentioned that to several people, just seeing if what the interest would be, and they're all about it. So that's just a little tease, Brian.
Okay, well, we'll talk more about that, maybe in another episode, it sounds like. So, did you have any more tips, Annie, for today?
That is it for today. We don't wanna, bomb you with tips, but they will
Overwhelm
continue
them?
to come out, throughout our next few sessions, I'm sure.
Awesome. Okay, so well, then that wraps us up for today. Thanks everyone for listening. For more information about life coaching or to interact with us directly, you can check us out on Facebook at the Happy Mama Village or on our individual websites at www.rebuildingwithbryan.com.
And www.anniemhenderson.com.
The show notes will have our email addresses plus additional information. Okay, mamas, be sure to go love yourselves this week and join us here next week at the Village. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Happy Mama Village. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a comment, like, or share, and be sure to join Annie and Bryan for next week's episode.